Oh, hello, and welcome to the box room. As I was putting the dual drive, it doesn't work back up there. What caught my eye but another 1010 external drive. So I snagged it, I plugged it in. Oh, I guess I'll pop this workbench disk in, and we'll see. We will see if it works, or if it does not. We are booting, booting. Perhaps I will put this disk in, but not quite in, while things boot. Anyway, I guess I'd forgotten I had that up there. Maybe I should look and see what else. See another keyboard. Looks like for an Amiga 2000. I believe there's also a silver label 64 up there. And other things. So we are booting. We are booting. Oh, we have booted. I'm going to put this workbench disk into this drive. See if it acknowledges it. It does seem to be acknowledging it. It says it has a copy of workbench. It does. And here we have workbench. So, guess what the heck? Go big or go home. I'll copy workbench onto workbench. And continue. And it is on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it does seem to be functioning. So if that is the case, just looking there, 1, 2, 3, 4. If this works, then there would be 5 1010s here that seem to be working. At least at this moment, they seem to be working. We'll see what we see. We will see. Oh yeah, I should get this thing out. Here I have the cool thing I use to charge the microphones. It's a thing that is it's basically a battery. It has a little number there. And I think it may be actually dying because the last time I had it on a movie set, it didn't do well for me. But with the microphones, I like it because the microphones don't need to sit here and charge endlessly. They just need to charge. So if I plug this thing down, I push the button. Are the microphones charging? They are. But somehow or another, this thing figures out when they've had enough and it turns off. So I can get a whole lot of charging goodness out of this with the microphones. And now that I have both sets of microphones on the go, I always have a set that's nicely charged and happy. I will have to do some more testing on this to see, yes, is it really dying? And is it no longer a benefit for movie things, TV things, other things? Because when you go to places like that, they don't have charging stuff set up for you. They don't. And if you try and stick things where you shouldn't, they can get irked. The last thing I was on, there happened to be, because it was near Christmas time, there were Christmas trees plugged in here and there at this place that was our holding area. And indeed, there we go, one of them had a power bar. So you kind of had to go back into the corner behind the tree and plug it. Now, I didn't do that, but I did help others be aware of that because it always does seem people are worried about phones not being charged. Okay, so that seemed to copy. So I am going to reboot and put the copy in drive 0 and see what. I did not intend to get into this whole external drive thing. I want to take the hard drive apart. But I am still baffled as to why this machine would not work with more than one external floppy drive. I'm sure I've done it before. At least I think I have. I could be wrong. Certainly I know. Well, with Amiga 1000s, let me think about that. You know what? I used to have a setup with a whole bunch of them. They all had their own external drive connected. And I'm pretty sure I had individual mice, but I had one monitor and I had a switch box. And I would copy. And I could use virus protection. And it all went very well. And certainly I would never, if anything came up with an error or I wasn't sure at all, I'd try copying again. I would. Okay, copy of workbench. There we have it. I think I will rename. Workbench 1.3.2. And it is done. Well, you know what? I have another disk here. I think it came from that disk box. I'm pretty sure it did. I'll pop that in here for a second. What is it today? Oh, workbench. Indeed. It too is working. I think I'll do one more between these two disks. And just, oh, you know. Yeah, I was just thinking as I just did that, now that I've done that, now that I really can't stop it, I really should, cannot read workbench 1.3.2. Well, that's not good. Oh, ho, 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 what do we have here? Okay, cancel, just copy abandon. Interesting. So this disk is now squirrely. And this disk is now it's giving me grief. So maybe this drive is not so good. Maybe it's not. I'm gonna swap them, which is kind of what I had in mind before. Let's see. What's what here? And now it seems to be working. An interesting thing, with all these disk things. The same with 1541 or 1571 or with a pet. Sometimes a disk might just need to be reseated. Or with these drives, maybe there was a door issue. Perhaps. Maybe. But now it seems to be copying quite fine. And I don't know if you can hear it, because the fan makes a lot of noise. But when things are going well for the copy, you just hear these gentle clicks. And with any Amiga disk, if it's not going well, you hear these more rigorous sounds. You do. And then that's when the error messages appear. So we're at 49, 50, 51, 28 to go. We'll see what we see when we see what we see. Anyway, it does seem that these are okay. Maybe maybe the disk just needed to be reseated. Things happen. Remember, a floppy disk is essentially like a tape drive. It gives you random access. It's like a round thing, same kind of magnetic stuff as it would be on a cassette tape. But it's all right there, and the head can move back and forth and go where they want instead of it just being sequential. Okay, so are we done? Are we happy? Are we good? We're good. So we have the copy of Workbench 1.32, and it is in Drive inside the machine. All right. So the lights are off, and that copied just fine. That copied just fine. I suppose. Put that in there. Oh, I suppose I'll put that in here. See if everything comes up. Oh. Just verify that I have it. I'm clicking on the disk that is MDF0. Maybe just for fun, because I'm curious. I'll just see if it's going to fail again. Oh, I think it is. Cannot read. Well, isn't that weird? So copied the one way and not the other. Once again, I wonder about cleaning the heads on these. Cannot read. Workbench 1.32. This is a mystery. I will cancel that. Very strange. Very, very strange. Well, here's a copy. Here's a disk. Workbench. Workbench 1.3. I'm going to try and copy that over here. Now, I bet you, yes, sirree, it's going to ask for Workbench 1.3.2 because it does seem to always like to have the disk that it booted off of. And that would be to get the disk copy thing ready. I'm hoping I don't have to do much more swapping than that. And that is why I'm going to put, it's asking for Workbench 1.3. I'm going to do that. And hopefully that's the last swapping I have to do. Alright, let's see what happens. And it's just fine. What seems to be. Oh, USB things are so much nicer to work with. Not that they don't fail, not that they don't get errors. Things happen. But yes, indeed, this brings back glorious memories of the Amiga. Sticking around with discs. Sticking around with drives. Well, I tell you, these discs were quite good. Much better than the 5 1/4. Because if you had to go somewhere, oh, geez, if I could just do it, they would fit beautifully inside a shirt pocket, beautifully. And you were good to go. Ah, don't do that. Anyway, beautiful. Marvelous. Alright, so we're getting there on the copy of the copy of the copy, etc., etc., etc. And indeed, at the end of this, I believe we'll have 5 external drives that seem to be okay. I'm sure, as I say, I'm sure there's other diagnostic-y things that I should and could do. I'm sure of it. And I'll look for them. I had one, and I'm pretty sure I ruined it when I ran Disk Doctor on it. A sad day. But also, I suspect I have not done the whole thing of using the SD cards and the internet and everything to get stuff. But I probably should. It may be time to leave the Dark Ages. Possibly. Okay, how are we doing? We are finishing, and it's going to come up, and it's going to say it's all good. Alright. So perhaps I will pop this disk out. Pop this disk out. Leave that there. Maybe I'll leave this attached in case I need to do more experiments and copy with things. Maybe it's time to shut her down. And and see what else we can get into. But not the hard drive. Not yet. Not today. I need to find a socket or a nut driver or something that I can very perfectly securely get the there's a fastener here. I put the warranty sticker back over, but in there's like a nut that needs to come off. And I have already, at one point, I have not taken them off, but I did free up the screws and then tighten them back down on this drive. But that I've got to get off, and then I can look inside and find the stiction and then see what course of action. It seemed, when I did watch the thing, it seemed, people took the stuff off, but then they had to figure out something else to put on there. I'm not sure if I shouldn't just find a way to cover it up. One guy, I think he said he'd used, just put electrical tape around the whole mess. Will that last? I don't know. This isn't something I want to do over and over and over and over and over. But I would like to drive to work again. So we'll see. Anyway, that's it. That's all for today. Thanks for coming. From the box room, David Bradley, signing off. Bye for now.